Hi, my name's Lara. I'm the founder of Hoopsy. So Hoopsy started after I underwent my own IVF and get pregnant in 2021. And what I found was that when women were using pregnancy tests to check if they're pregnant or not, some of them were using 10 or 15 per cycle. And I was just shocked by the amount of plastic that was being used in these tests, which were literally just used for 5 minutes. So a bit more, I realized that on average, women are using 3 tests every time they check to see if they're pregnant. And these pictures here are from people that have posted them on Facebook, and they would just be people would use 10 or 15 tests. We know that on average, infertility is increasing, and it takes a healthy couple 12 months to get pregnant now. In the UK alone, 12.5 million pregnancy tests are sold every year, which is around 120,000 kilos of plastic going into landfill. And in Europe, it's around 31 million tests. Currently in the market, we've got all guys, so pregnancy tests in the market. We've got midstream tests, which is like the clear blue one, which is digital, or this analog one. We've got cassette tests, and then we've got stripped. There is no environmentally friendly option. The most environmentally friendly is the strip test, but the problem with that is that you have to wee into a cup and then dip the test in, and the midstream test, just because it's perceived to be less messy. So introducing the Hoopsy Eco Pregnancy Test. Our test has over 99% accuracy. It is 99% plastic free. It's been certified with the CE certification, and is the most sustainable. Well, the market size for fertility is US $44.2 billion, with the addressable market of 30 billion, and our obtainable market is 1.36 billion fertility tests, such as ovulation tests. Now, we did some research earlier in the year in January with trying to conceive for a year or more. We also know that millennials, which is our target audience, are looking for products, and at the moment they test. We launched into the market in the UK last year, and so far we're now selling in a number of physical stores as well as online stores, both including pharmacy, eco stores, as well as on our own website. Now, we've done a lot of PR for the brand, and since we launched in July, we've been in the media over 65 times across a number of different publications. We also launched in February an advice, because going through the journey, I found that it was very difficult, not just financially, but emotionally as well as physically. And you need the support there on your journey. Weeks into Europe in July, and then launch an eco ovulation test in August. We're launching into the EU design and be made from new materials. And then in 2025, we plan to launch into the home-based urine test market, which is worth 11.3 billion.
1 minute warning.
In terms of our financial projections, this is based on, this is based on us looking at Europe this year, achieving around 1% of each market. The team is made up of myself. I've started and run a number of businesses. Is ex-BCG, has a background in healthcare, and to support people. Plus, we have a couple of advisors, one in marketing and Dr. So we're looking for £1 million to spend on expansion of the brand, and also probably product regulatory approvals and manufacturing. Our big vision is sustainable, user-friendly home testing devices. And thank you so much for listening to me, and I look forward to your questions.
Awesome. Thanks for presenting. Sorry, I had to turn your video off. There were some issues on the bandwidth, I think, on your side. You can turn your video back on. I'll bring the other panelists in now as well. All good, all good. I'll bring our other panelists in. And as I'm bringing them in, one question that I would have.
I'm in the pub, not drinking.
No worries, no worries. And one thing I would have while we're bringing them all in is just what does the carbon footprint of a pregnancy test look like? How much are you guys saving on a per pregnancy basis or on a per month of it takes forever to get pregnant basis?
Well, on average, a midstream test has 9 grams of plastic in it, and those 9 plastic take around 30 years to break down into microplastics. So if a couple is using 3 tests every month to test, that's 36 tests a year. So globally, there's 812 million pregnancy tests sold every year, so which is around 6 million kilos of plastic globally that goes into landfill.
Okay. I would kick things over. Alex, you went last on intro, so you want to go first on questions?
Sure, I can. Thanks, Sarah, first of all, for presenting Hoopsy to us. I was wondering a bit about your unit economics for one, and your go-to-market on the other hand. And I have another question, but I keep that for after we spoke about your go-to-market and unit economics. I think we lost you.
You there, Laura? Uh-oh.
Oops.
Let's see. We'll give it a minute or two. If she has to jump back in, maybe we'll transition over to somebody else and then.
Connection dropped out.
I think you're back now.
Yeah.
Okay, you're back now. So can you repeat the question, Alex? You might have missed that.
I wondered if you could give us a little insight on how you approach the market, where do you sell, and what your unit economics look like.
So how I approach the market in terms of how I decide to launch into the UK?
No, how do you get your customers?
Oh, how do we get customers? Oh, okay. So obviously, so there's really 2 types of women that use pregnancy tests, kind of mass generalization, but there's the people that had sex last week and their period didn't arrive and they're a meltdown, and they're going to head straight to the shops and buy a test. We're selling in 25 physical stores, but mostly online. So at the moment, our target is women who are planning. And some people will plan a month to 6 months to 12 months in advance that this is when we'll start trying to get pregnant. And then the women that are doing IVF, they will know that when their next cycle is, they'll be planning for that. And they normally know a couple of months in advance. So in terms of reaching them, we've partnered up with quite a lot of different people, including acupuncture, fertility acupuncturists, fertility coaches, other products that people would use in that step, in that process of trying to get pregnant, as well as trying to reach them through things like ovulation apps, through partnerships with other brands like, I guess, nutritionalists and that kind of thing. So lots of different ways. We haven't found one hard and fast way that works. So we're trying lots of different ways at the moment.
And before we go maybe to the unit economics, how does that?
Oh, you need to, sorry, yes. So our GP is around 70 to 80%, depending if we sell direct to retail, direct to consumers, or into retail stores. So our margins are pretty huge. We sell the 3-pack. So we have a 3, 5, and a 10-pack. We sell a 3-pack for £14.99, and the cost of goods is £169.
Oh wow, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
How's the pricing compared to your competitors or the competitive solutions that you presented?
So we're price parity on a per test basis with Clearblue. So we do Clearblue sometimes do a 3-pack, but mostly they do a 1 and a 2. But my kind of idea of launching into the market was, let's be price parity. We can always drop, but it's harder to go up.
Yeah. And in terms of quality of the results, everything is exactly the same.
Everything's exactly the same. So inside these plastic pregnancy tests, there is a little strip of paper. And all I've done is take that little strip of paper and make it bigger and got rid of as much plastic as possible. It's really not rocket science what I've done. And we don't have any IP on it, unfortunately, but that's why we're working on a next generation, which we have filed a patent on, because I am fully aware that people will copy us, because there is no reason the tests need to be in plastic. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
What's the IP going to cover then? So if the test works, why do you need the IP?
Because the IP will cover a new design. So at the moment, what we found is that when women are using a pregnancy test, they're not in their complete rational frame of mind. So they're not thinking as clearly as they might otherwise. And so therefore, they either don't count properly because you've got to hold it on your urine stream for a few seconds. So instead of counting to 6, going 1, 2, 3, they might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's not enough time. And therefore, they don't get the correct result for them. Or they don't hold it in their urine stream properly, so only a little bit gets wet. So our new design will basically revolutionize. The test hasn't changed in 35 years in terms of look, apart from a thumb grip. So ours will change the design of the test. That's the first part of our patent. And the second part of our patent is changing the materials so that we can have a fully flushable test. At the moment, there's one piece that's plastic which we can't change because that's used the same in every test, but we've identified a new material that we can use that will mean that the test will be made from 100% sustainable materials and potentially might even be edible. Not that you want to eat it, but it's an option.
Okay. And for panelists, just jump in with questions when you got questions. No need to raise your hands.
Yeah, I think you cover the IP very well, because I think that's one of the things, right? If it works well, then others gonna copy. And in order for it to be like a venture scale return, this is the market that is full with incumbent. What is your vision in terms of really making this a much bigger company that it can be? Is it extendable to other types of tests? Because I'm pretty sure the incumbent, right, they recognize the plastic problem, and there are several solutions like using biodegradable plastics and things like that. So the incumbent's going to iterate on the ESG metric as well. So in terms of your company, how do you even get it to be much bigger and broader product offering?
Well, first of all, with the patent we've got, that will apply across all urine-based tests. So initially, we'll use it on the pregnancy test and the ovulation test, but we can then license that patent into other countries, and we can also offer it as a white label to other businesses, particularly own label brands like pharmacy own label. And then we plan to launch into other urine-based tests like diabetes, chlamydia, vitamin D, and that market is worth $11.3 billion US, and it's only growing as healthcare becomes more and more expensive and as people are struggling, especially in the UK, to get doctor's appointments, and people want to own their own health. So, and we may not go into each of those markets, but again, we can license that IP. And with the new design, the new materials that we're doing, that is completely revolutionary, and that will affect all immunoassay tests. So all lateral flow tests, where like a COVID test or anything, that will affect all of those. So we can then license that IP to any immunoassay test as well. So there is a lot of opportunities, and I do see it being a huge company. We're just still very early stages.
How do you avoid being called Elizabeth Holmes?
You're
putting it out there for
that said that to me, apart from my brother, who was just stirring me up.
Okay. I think the technology is really there. I just think being really upfront with why the technology works is going to be important for you, because if you are going into the other blood testing and trying to simplify and have smaller, easier tests, you might as well kill the elephant in the room.
I'm not planning to go into blood testing.
Oh no, sorry. Okay.
At the moment, we're going to stick with we. Yeah, at the moment we're going to stick with we. So, I mean, later on, who knows? But at the moment, it's still, the problem is, well, one of the challenges in the market is it's regulatory rules. And they can take quite a long time. So even with the new tests we're working on now, they won't be out in the market for another 2 years, because just they're probably 5 years away. So just hold on to your money until then, Matt, and join the board.
Any other questions from you guys? I know Alex said he had another one.
Yeah, I've got one as well. So Lara, you mentioned that your test is 99% accurate. So is that the kind of same level accuracy, to the kind of as your competitors on the market? And B, you also mentioned that on average, one uses a few tests kind of at the same time to find out whether she's pregnant. So three tests at the same time, I think you mentioned. So can you somehow change that mindset as well? And just for my understanding, is it kind of 3 tests from the same manufacturer, or is it 3 different tests from different producers? And if it's the latter, can you change the mindset of a person using a test? Because in the end, even if you're one of the 3 sort of producers that the person will choose, you're replacing maybe 1/3 of the plastic they're being used. So just wanted to find out kind of how it's used in reality.
Sure. So all pregnancy tests have 99.8% accuracy, and ours is exactly the same as that. And that's been tested in clinical trials. In terms of the number of tests they use, so women with infertility increasing, women are really worried about getting the right results. So when they do 3 tests on average, depends on the person, but a lot of people will use 2 analog, as in the line tests, and 1 digital test, because they perceive the digital test to be more accurate. And Clear Blue is really, Boots have their own digital one as well, but Clear Blue is the market leader in terms of digital tests. So I think there's definitely room for us to be the other 2 non-digital tests. And I think there needs to be more education around the digital tests, because they are horrendously polluting. Like, there's so much electronics and stuff in there. But the problem is that women, especially if they've been trying for a long time, they're really worried about getting the right results. And to the point where some women now will take a pregnancy test every single day up until week 12 because they've had miscarriages. And this is with having blood tests, with having scans and everything, but they're so worried that they're going to lose the baby that they will keep testing. So I don't know if you can change the mindset. It's such an emotional state. So I think that will be very, very challenging. So I think probably the easier thing to do is, rather than change the user, change the product, so that we have something that's actually is more sustainable. And if people do decide to use lots and lots, I mean, I've met women that have used over 600 tests in their lifetime. So it can be a massive, massive problem.
Maybe one last question from me, if I may. Laura, where are you going to be in a few years from now? Will you continue to focus on pregnancy tests, or will you use it as a platform to also put other products out in the market? Are you still here?
Yeah, so plan to launch an ovulation test later this year, and then other urine-based tests. So like, other urine-based tests like chlamydia and vitamin D and diabetes. So we'll move away from, we'll not move away, we'll still do pregnancy. But I guess we started with pregnancy because that was my experience, and that was kind of opportunity in other areas of testing that just hasn't been addressed. And then there's the next COVID, which is probably going to come around. And so, we'll be prime place to actually take advantage of that kind of thing as well, because that's all immunoassay tests.
How much cheaper could you make your tests than the existing tests? How do your unit costs compare to other tests?
In terms of retail price?
Like what you could sell these? I'm just thinking.
Well, it depends where you shop. If you shop,
having some difficulty with the videos. Apologize for that.
If you say more, Matt.
Well, I'm just thinking sorry. Like if you want. I'm just thinking like if you want to have impact at scale. What if you were just the low? It seems like if you're cutting out a lot of material, you should be much cheaper. And if you're much cheaper, why not just be the pregnancy test for all of Africa and the developing world? And then you have scale through unit economics that no one else can beat.
That's definitely an option. The challenge is we're back to regulatory approvals. So every country has its own regulatory approval process. So it's not like you get one and you've got everything, and it's not like you get America and then the UK goes, oh yeah, you've got America, yeah, we'll give you the UK as well. You have to go through a process for each one, and it costs a lot of money. So really, the reason I started with the UK and Europe is because the manufacturer I'm using already has that approval, so it just makes more sense. And now we're kind of picking our markets. In terms of pricing, we could drop down a lot more. Like, we're looking at doing a pregnancy, an abortion test. Well, for people that have had abortion, we're looking at doing that, and that will be priced at £1.70 for one test. But so and on that we make around, like, it's about 50%, 100% margin, depending on which way you look at it. So, but the problem then comes is, how are you going to promote the test if you don't have any marketing dollars? So you'd have to sell it into somewhere on a massive scale. I mean, I'm not opposed to doing that. It's just, you know, one of those things to work out. Like, if we could get some kind, if someone came to me and said, okay, I want 2 million of these, then yeah, great, definitely. But it's a bit chicken and egg at the moment.